I love it.
Yes.
Welcome to the Magnificent Mamas Thrive Show. Lynn, I'm so excited to have you. You are on the Magnificent Mamas Thrive Show today, and we're going to talk about the power of the smile. But before we get into that, I just want to share with the mamas that you are a very near and dear friend to me, that we were connected like strange because our friend Ashley was like, you have to meet my friend Lynn and you have to meet my friend Elizabeth. And we're standing there in the pool and we were like, oh, you're the person we've been trying to meet. So then, lo and behold, you remember that day, right?
Elizabeth, I remember that day because me on the other end, I was always having people say, you need to meet Elizabeth, you need to meet Elizabeth. And when we finally met, how about it? I think the entire picnic, we were in our own little bubble. We just talked the entire day. It was crazy.
And we like dove deep. We were like talking about angels and manifestation and like energy and people and happiness. Yeah. And then we found out we're like born 2 days apart. We're both Virgos, right?
No, one day apart.
One day? Oh, yeah. That's right. And that is just always so fun because especially when you get a person who completely understands you,
yes.
And then you're born like within, the same birth sign, it's just so fun.
No, it was really fun.
But we've always stayed friends and we've moved and you've stayed or you've gone far away and like we just have always stayed in contact. So I wanted to get you on the Magnificent Mamas Thrive Show, especially now in this time of life, because you have, I know even one of the moments that I want to even bring up was when you came out to visit us in California. You found a heart, a stone that looked like a heart, and you gave it to me, and it just made my heart smile. Aww. And whenever I think of my friend Lynn, I always want to smile because you always have that, you come with that really positive, high vibrating energy that is charismatic, and people definitely want to know it.
Oh, so thank you. Thank you.
So
do you, Elizabeth. That's why we gravitate towards each other.
Like it feels good.
Attracts. It's true. We all have our own energy that we broadcast out, and I just love to talk about that. You think of yourself as broadcasting like a radio station channel or a television network, and think about like, what is that network that you're broadcasting to the world? Is it happy? Is it sad? What is it? And you'll attract people that want to tune into that. So if you really want to have a happy, high vibrating, fun life, then put out that kind of energy because that's exactly what you're going to get back. And that's what I got back with you, Elizabeth.
Right. And, that's something that we like to talk about is the whole manifestation. Mm-hmm. And it's not just an idea because I know your life, I know your family. It didn't just stop at you having this amazing life, but you're also seeing it within your daughters who are now young adults who you've taught these tools to all this time while they were growing up. And I'm sure like my teenager is like, mom stop, but they're now manifesting some amazing things, which is very telling, right?
Well, I think what's amazing is when kids grow up with it, it just becomes part of who they are and they don't have to try. I mean, just things in life just magically fall into place for them. And it's because they're just used to it. They're used to putting out that great energy, taking situations that may not be so good and flipping it to the positive. I know that my kids and myself, we're just always great at looking for the positive in a situation. They'd come home from school and they'd say, oh, this happened. And I would say, well, how can we flip it? How can we find the positive in it? There's always a little tiny shred of positive within everything. So if you can find that, it's amazing what can happen in your life. So, and it's easy. It's not one of these things that you have to work hard at. And it really does start with a smile. That's what I'm so passionate about because you can talk about manifesting and creating the life you want, but really the smile is the foundation for that. And I like to think of the smile as an on switch. for that positive energy. So every time you smile, it's like you're turning on that switch to let that energy just radiate from you. So just think of, if you think of it like that, whenever you're even alone, even if you're feeling a little bit down, if you just smile, it's amazing what that can do for you. I mean, it even turns on receptors in your brain. Somebody's here. I think I have a doorbell going, but it even, hello, I think that was just a good
that was the universe saying, yes, that was it.
Exactly right. But yeah, it even turns on happy endorphins in your brain when you smile. So even if you're in a down mood and you're all by yourself, just try it. Just put on a smile. Kind of works.
I know. I remember, in your 20s, you just seemed like those doom and gloom feelings, like, oh, the world is I'm never going to find the man that I want to marry, blah, 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 whatever the story is, that tape in your mind. And I remember my mom always saying, just put on lipstick, just get up, get showered. And even if you never put on any other makeup, put on lipstick, because it always makes you feel so much better. And I think it's true. There's definitely something to be said about like just really tuning into your smile. Really, when you're putting on lipstick, you want to smile. You want to feel good.
Well, I love what you said about that, because have you ever gone to a party and you look at yourself and you're like, oh God, my hair turned out terrible. I hate my outfit. Everything's too tight. I feel awful. And you go there and you literally don't meet anyone. It's a horrible party. You can't wait to leave. And you just are like, oh, I feel terrible. But then you also, on the flip side, that when everything's working and your outfit is great and your hair looks great, like you get to that party and it's like magic. Like you meet everybody that you want to meet. You just pull in just all this amazing energy because that's what you're putting out. So I always say now, of course, you're not always gonna have the perfect hair day, or you're not always gonna have the perfect outfit day. But when I leave the house now, if I'm not feeling quite right, I'll say, you know what? There is one thing that I always have with me and I can always put it on, and that is a smile. And when you have a big, bright smile, nobody really notices what you're wearing or what your hair looks like anyway. So it's that little secret accessory that you always have with you that works. It always works.
And you have a fabulous smile. So you told me something the other day when we were talking, and because I have known you for so long, I was actually somewhat like shocked, because you are the type of person who always sees the positive in everything. And we are going through a serious struggle with the pandemic of like what to believe, what not to believe. We're supposed to wear these masks. How do we like navigate through these times? And as a happy, positive person, you even said, oh, I can't stand wearing this mask. It like shuts me down. But then you said something next. Tell us what you told me.
Well, it's funny because I am normally such a positive, upbeat, happy person. And I have to tell you, like, I was really kind of rocked in the beginning of this pandemic for a few months. I went into myself. I did a lot of writing. Obviously, my husband and I, we take the pandemic really serious. And, I'm practically still quarantining because I feel like I want to do the right thing in the world. I don't want to spread anything or even catch it. Of course, we're all afraid of that. So, I mean, not everybody, but so I kind of went into like I don't want to say a depression, but definitely a darker place. And I'll never forget the first time I went to a grocery store. I mean, and you probably can relate to this. I'm sure a lot of people can. We had our big masks on. I had a mask on. I had a bandana over the mask. I had goggles on. I had gloves on.
I could just imagine seeing that. Gloves.
I walked into the
hazmat suit.
Yeah. If I had one, I probably would have worn it. But I remember walking in the store with such fear, and that was really the energy that I was putting out. And I think all the people around me either felt it or maybe they were putting out it as well. But I remember not being able to look people in the eye. And it was a very strange feeling for me because I'm the person that goes into a store and makes a million friends. I love to take photos of smiling people and post it. And so here I am going, oh my God, like, I don't even want to look at a person. Like, do they have the disease? Am I going to catch it? and when you don't have that smile to fall back on, it was really a very interesting and strange place for me to be in, particularly.
Mm-hmm.
So that went on for a few months, and then of course, you get more comfortable going out into the world. So you got used to the mask. You weren't going to die every time you went to the grocery store. So that eased up a little bit. So you felt a little bit better. But lately, what I've been noticing, because I am a mask wearer, I'll wear masks wherever I go. I don't care if people don't have them on. I'm going to do my part to help get this world back on track, because I feel like that's what we really need. So what I started doing is, when I'm out and about, I always have a mask on. And because I'm wearing it so much, I'm kind of forgetting that I have it on. So what's interesting, the one day at the grocery store, I remember saying to the woman at the checkout, I'm smiling at you and under my mask. I said, I'm smiling at you underneath my mask. And she just, like, her whole demeanor just kind of went, oh. And the woman behind me also, I heard her take a sigh, and everybody was like, wow, thank you. Like, we really needed that. So now, again, being out in the world so much with a mask on, I'm forgetting that I'm wearing it. So of course I'm smiling underneath my mask like I normally would, because I'm not as afraid and I'm out in the world. And I'm noticing that people treat me exactly like they used to when I had my smile. So I started doing experiments. I would smile at people from across the street or from far away. And of course, it's so far that they can't see the wrinkle in my eyes from my smile. And they're still, like, looking over and smiling. So it's really interesting, because it's making me realize even more than I did before. I mean, I always knew that smile energy was a huge thing. It's an energy. But it really made me realize how much of an energy it is now that we're wearing masks. So I like to use this time maybe as a great opportunity, because they always say that your eyes are the windows to your soul. Yeah. So now that's what you're seeing. Like, you feel people's energy, because you can't see the person who may be smiling but not really having that good intention behind it. Like, all you see are their eyes. So it's a good truth-seeking time. And one of my sisters told me the other day that she has a hard time socializing with people and going out in public, but because of this pandemic, she feels safer. Like, she feels like she can be more herself because she's behind the mask. So wow. You think about if you go to a Halloween party and you're dressed up as somebody that you're not and your face is covered, you can kind of let loose and just kind of be you and have fun. So now is kind of that opportunity to kind of play around with that and just let that smile energy loose, because people really can feel it.
Right. And I love that, because, I'm an energy healer. So I oftentimes have struggled. I'm a master of Reiki and I teach it. So just even trying to teach something that you can't tangibly touch, right, feel, or you can feel it, but you can't see it. And so with what you're talking about is just the smile and the power and the energy that comes from smiling at someone across the street. They're right. Feeling it. And that is definitely nothing made up. It's a feeling. Yeah. Just like when you walk into a store, an office, or home for that matter, with your people, you feel whether they're in a good mood or they're not in a good mood, just by the tension in the air, if you tune into it.
Oh yeah. And now more than ever, I mean, people need that good energy. And I have one story that I love to tell. When we were rehabbing a shore house that we had, one of the contractors that we brought on board to help us didn't have the best energy. And he would come in every day and mope around, and we'd be like, hey, like, he was making everybody on the whole, site just down and sad. Like, I was even starting to feel it. So one day I took him aside. I said, hey, listen, you know that I teach about smiling and I like to have a happy atmosphere. I said, so tomorrow when you come in, I want you to tell me one happy story, one thing that was happy that happened to you. So he's like, okay. So the next day he comes in and I'm like, okay, well, wait, no complaining. I don't want to hear about the traffic on the bridge or anything. Just what is your one happy story today? So he begrudgingly told me something. And I'm like, okay, good, thank you. That was awesome. And he started smiling a little. We did this for a few days. And I'll never forget, it was probably maybe 3 or 4 days into it. My husband, John, and I were in a meeting talking to one of the other contractors. And this guy comes busting through and he's like, you could see he was like a little kid, you know, and we were busy talking, but he was like standing there like, oh, I can't wait
to tell you.
And so finally we were done. And I'm like, what, Ed? And he's like, I have a happy story.
Oh.
Told it to me. And from then on, like the whole place, the energy and the environment changed so much. You know, the work was much better done. All the people were happy and it just really changed.
Yeah.
So now more than ever, again, because everybody's kind of afraid because they have the mask. So you need to put that energy out. Don't be afraid to talk to people. We're not aliens with masks on. You know, our energy is still there. And as long as we just accept that this is what it's going to be for a while, life doesn't have to be any different. What is your experience, Elizabeth?
I love that. You know, it's so interesting that, you know, just even hearing the stories, and of course we talk about stuff like this all the time, but just hearing that about asking this gentleman who is a stranger to you essentially to come in and open up, it's almost like it gave him permission to see that there is good stuff happening in the world. And I know a few weeks ago I was teaching a meditation class and we all set, you know, our intentions, and I said something about feeling happy, and I almost, you know what, I backtracked. I said, I feel like I'm the happy person at a funeral. and that is a very odd feeling, because I see, just like you, Lynn, I see there's so much going on in the world that is good. And when we get in alignment with what the things are that are going on that are really good, we see more of those things. And it's almost a pivot from the dark, heavy energy or the sadness. And we're in this grieving point in life right now where we're angry and we're sad and we're angry and we're sad. And we don't necessarily know how to get out of that anger, sadness. And we need to get to that next phase of grievance, and that's rising up from the ashes, for the love of Pete. But what you're talking about just makes it real to say, okay, what are some good things that happened today? And just to even get your families to connect with, you know, there are good things happening in the world today. Let's talk about those versus all of the destruction and the pandemic that's happening in politics, and you know, and those stories can go on and on and on about the negativity. But even like what you're saying is just get that focus of good things, positive things, things that make you smile, that make you vibrate on a higher level and create a new path, right?
Well, it's funny when you said it's almost like we gave him permission, and a smile is our light from within, okay? And when we smile at another person, we are giving them permission. We're giving them permission to smile back. When I'm also a photographer, and everywhere I go, I do take smiling photos of people. And I remember on a lot of the times when I travel, if I have my big camera with me, I usually just have it held up to my face and I smile and I wave at people. So I don't even say, hey, can I take your picture? I like sort of just smile and wave and click it quickly. And they always smile and wave back, which to me means it's more of a soul connection. Like their brain didn't even have a chance to connect in and say like, who is she? What is she doing? Is she a stranger? You know what I mean? So it's that soul connection too that you're tapping into.
And you know what else? What you just said is like, you're looking for a smile. Mm-hmm. And even the story I shared before is that you found a rock that looked like a heart, which made you smile, and then you passed it forward to me. but that's what you're looking for. You're looking for people to smile. And so if you're looking for that, you're going to find them, right?
Yes.
And the same of the flip. If you're cranky and you're looking for other cranky people, oh boy, you're going to find them, right?
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
So which would you prefer in your life? Like the cranky people and the arguments and the disagreements, or would you prefer to pivot and look for the smiles? So even behind a mask, you can see the energy. And I think that's a really good challenge for everyone to take, right?
You know what's funny? When you talked about you're the happy person at a funeral, I struggle with that sometimes too, because I see, obviously there's sad situations, but I also see the happiness and just the fact that we are all here and you know, people love each other, and that's like something to smile about. But it made me think of something I thought of the other day, is when we smile, the more we smile, it's like we're building this reservoir of happy energy, you know? And the more you put into it, the bigger this reservoir is. And so if we have this big reservoir built within us, built up, you know, when you get to sad situations, it's amazing how quick, have you ever been to a funeral and you actually busted out laughing?
No, I can't say.
Or you've been in like a situation where laughter really wasn't the thing to do, but all of a sudden like it bubbled up and you were like, oh my God, like why am I laughing now? This is
the embarrassment laugh.
It's embarrassing. But I think it's your body's way of balancing out the sad. So if you have that reservoir of happiness, like it will always be there to protect you, to balance you out. So that's why it's so important to keep that smile energy and keep that reservoir full, so that when you have the down moments, which we all do, I mean, that's the ebbs and flow of life. Like it's hard to stay happy 24/7, nor is it healthy.
Right,
so,
right, because that could lead to the depression, right? Of holding on to that energy of like, I should be smiling. And when I said that, it's even not I'm not disrespecting the fact that we're in a hard time. However, I'm looking for the good that has come from the dark.
Right.
And I think that that's the key thing, that it's my natural desire to look for the light from darkness.
Exactly.
And so, you know, of course, I pause in the dark. I pause when it's not ideal, because I also want to find out what I'm learning from that. But that muscle of learning how to vibe up and bring the joy up is when I'm done feeling sad and angry, what's my next process, or where do I move from here? And I tell all of my therapist partners, I process fast because I don't want to be in pain too long.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's my process. So
well, think about it. I mean, your body needs rest. It just does. And so many of us try to go. You can't stay in this high vibration, happy, smiling state if your body is so tired out. I always think of, like, if you look at a candle, and if you see that candle and it's really still and quiet, there's no breeze around it, I mean, that candle, the flame is super high and super bright. So I always think, you know, but when a breeze comes and there's so much activity all around it, like it just starts to flutter and it shrinks. And if there's too much activity, it'll just burn out completely. So it's that balance of keeping your energy really bright through stillness and rest and meditation. There's so many ways to keep it bright. And then you can go about your way, but just know that you need to come back to stillness to keep that energy bright.
Yes, I love that. Oh, you shared so many awesome things with us today. Tell us, what are you doing with your power of a smile? Are you writing a book? How can we help you? What are we looking for? What's next for you, Lynn?
I am writing a book. I've been working on it for a really long time. I have to say, I did get slightly derailed at the beginning of this pandemic, but I think I needed to go through some of that learning and to really understand what this smile energy was and really how it can make a huge impact. So I'm kind of glad I went through that learning time a little bit, because it's given me much better insight. So I would like to say by the end of this year, I'm going to have the book done. That's my goal. It's close. But one of the things that I'm working on, which is really kind of fun, that I love to do for people is putting together a smile file. And this is something that anybody can do. It takes a little bit of work to do it, but it's one of those tools that can help you if you are in the kind of a lull and are having a hard time getting out of it. It can snap you back into that happy, high vibration, which does help you connect to your dreams. So what I like to do is I have a file of all the photos that make me happy. And, a lot of people will say, well, isn't that just like the favorites button on my phone? It's kind of like that, but it's really the photos that aren't just beautiful portraits or aren't just beautiful scenery, but the photos that really make you smile. And sometimes it's the photos, that the person's eyes are closed, or it just, when you look at it,
it makes you silly.
Gives you a giggle. It gives you a giggle. Yeah. So I spent some of that downtime in the beginning of the pandemic, working on these things so I'd have a tool for later. So that's really great, because when you're in a down place, sometimes it's really hard to say, well, let me find those happy photos that make me smile, because one, they're not available easily. And when you're in a down space, you can't really think of things. So you get your photos together, you get music that makes you happy, and once again, if you have it available, you can use it instantly. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time. Well, what music makes me happy? I'm so sad that I can't even think of any, because it's that attracting. When you're in that down mood, all you're going to attract are down, low energy,
sad songs. Yeah,
exactly. So that also, it's really great to sit down and make a list, like go through your life and think of what were all the really high points in my life, what things really, really made me smile. And it's amazing. It's hard. I mean, there's so many, obviously there's so many moments, but if you really sit down, you're like, what was that moment? But once you start going, you'll start to remember all the amazing times and put those down on the list, because again, if you're in a down space, you're not going to be able to think of anything.
Right. So kind of prepare for that ebb and flow of life.
Movies, I made a list. It took me almost a full day to make a list of all the movies that made me happy, or movies that I wanted to see that I believed were going to make me happy. And it's good to have all these things available, podcasts or YouTube things that are very uplifting and inspiring. If you can have this stuff on hand, it really helps you. I mean, sometimes I start out my day with, I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch something that's super inspiring, or a TED Talk that inspires me. And sometimes that's how I start out my day, even with my writing, because if I can have one moment of inspiration, gosh, the energy of it just takes me through the rest of the day.
It's your soul food.
It is soul food. It's that good energy, smile energy, I like to call it. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been working on. Just don't be afraid to go out into the world with this pandemic right now. Don't be afraid to wear masks. I wear them. I'm trying to set a good example wearing them, because you really don't need to see the physical smiles. Think about when you're talking to somebody on the telephone. When they're smiling. You can hear the smile in their voice. You don't need to see it. When you're writing somebody a text or an email or a letter, when that person has exclamation points and smiley faces. So we don't need the actual physical smile to put that good energy out into the world. And I think, go out, connect to people. People want to be connected to, listen to people. Oh, that reminds me. I wrote something for a friend of mine whose kids were going to the camp. Let me see. Here, I can read this to you, because it's kind of like the simple version of how the smile can help you. And really quickly, what started my thought on this is I was at the shore a few summers ago, and I was at an art show. And I remember just, looking at the art, smiling. I met this woman and I smiled, and she smiled back, and she said, "Wow, you really have a beautiful smile." And I said, "Oh, thank you. So do you." And she goes, "We should be friends." And I said, "We should be friends." And There it was. It was as simple as that. So basically, my quick little list of how the smile can help you is smile. You know, when you smile, you appear warm and friendly, which instantly makes people feel at ease. Smiles are contagious. When you smile, you most likely will get a smile back. Approach. Go up to someone and say hello. Don't wait for others to come to you. Someone always has to be first. Be that person. Compliment. The easiest way to make someone smile is to compliment them. You can always find something nice to say. This will make you feel good too. Ask questions. Always be prepared with a set of questions that will help you start conversations. People love to talk about themselves. You can have a lot of fun with this and come up with some really interesting questions. Listen. Listen with a real interest and give your full attention. You will be amazed at how many similarities you will have with people and help you relate to them. Share your stories. Talk about the things that are unique to you. People love to learn interesting new things. You will also inspire people to share even more. Don't be afraid to talk about yourself. Be yourself. Show your true self. You don't have to pretend to be something better than the amazing person you already are. People will gravitate towards that honesty. So that is my quick little guide to using your smile to make connections with people and spread those smiles. And you can still do it with a mask on, no question.
I love that. I love that. I would love to get a copy of that and put it in the show notes, if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
Awesome. Lynn, thank you so much for all of your wisdom today and your vibration, because I am just sitting here like gritting, my cheeks hurt because you're making me smile so much.
You feel it?
Feel all that smile. I love it. So I want to thank you for being a guest on the Magnificent Mamas Thrive show. We talk about all kinds of things that are inspiring and empowering, and I feel empowered to pay it forward to smile to somebody else and also encourage them to listen to this podcast and hear how impactful just a smile can go and how far it can take for you to change life and just redirect the way that we're approaching the world one day at a time.
Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for having me. And gosh, a smile is what connected us.
I know.
We're still friends.
It's so great. I love it too. Thanks so much. We'll see you the next time.
Thank you, Elizabeth.